Welcome to Stache Sports episode 27. Last night, the Pittsburgh Penguins took on the Seattle Kraken and won 6-3. Today, I also saw that the Pittsburgh Penguins made a trade for a defensive man, sending somebody else over that's not as well-known a player, and a pick for a defensive man from the Colorado Avalanche. Let's hope that defense can help. But last night, the Penguins defense looks really good on only allowing 3 goals against the Seattle Kraken. The Penguins scored 6 goals and won 6-3 and looked really good last night. Crosby had a lot of good plays last night for the Penguins. And Stuart Skinner, I think, was in that, played real good. But I did not watch the game last night because I was watching the national championship game. I just looked at the score on my phone. But anyway, the Penguins looked really good last night and started off this much-needed road trip. And started off this road trip with a much-needed win because they're going on a long road trip now, and they were coming off a loss in the shootouts, which the Penguins have not been good in shootouts this year. But they won 6-3 last night in Seattle and started off this road trip with a win. Let's hope they can continue on this road trip. We'll keep on winning on this road trip for the Pittsburgh Penguins and us as fans. Yesterday, one of the commenters said that my pick stunk. But I got it right last night, where Indiana ended up winning that game, winning the national championship game, 27-21. What a good game that was! It came down to the very last play. There was a couple really good plays in that game. Some of my favorite plays was that block punt by Indiana that went to a touchdown. Miami's running back had a really nice rushing touchdown during that game too. That opened the scoring for Miami and made it more of a game. But that block punt by Indiana was impressive. You hardly ever see block punts in the NFL or college level these days. The block punt was impressive. Mendoza looked really good too. That 4th and 5 call was really gutsy by Kirk Cincinnati to go for it in the goal line when they got the touchdown one. Mendoza ran it in, and that was a top 10 play. That was probably one of the best Mendoza plays all year. That was an incredible run. And he put his body on the line to get that touchdown, which he did for the Indiana Hoosiers, so they ended up winning the game. What an impressive game last night. It was back and forth. You couldn't ask for a better game. Good defenses on both teams. That Miami frontline defense looked really good. They were getting back there and getting a lot of pressure on Mendoza last night during the game, and attacking him a lot of times. But Indiana won because Miami was driving down the field and Carson Beck for a crucial interception to a player that is from Miami, but plays for Indiana, and Indiana kneeled the ball out and ended up winning the game. Even though they're near the goal line because of an unsportsmanlike penalty because they celebrated too much near the end. But the Indiana Hoosiers won 27-21, making it the first national championship in program history. And now they are 16-0, the first team since Yale, because since they have extra games now with the playoffs, they have more games to get to 16-0. I know there's Alabama teams and every team that did it, but they didn't have as many games as they do now with these new playoff rules. But the Indiana Hoosiers are 16-0. Who would have thought that the Indiana Hoosiers at the beginning of the year would have gone undefeated and would have won a national championship game? Who would have thought Mendoza would have been a Heisman quarterback? Who would have thought Kirk Cincinnati would have turned this program around like he did in 2 years and make them not known for a basketball school and for a football school? That's quite impressive. Quite an impressive run for the Indiana Hoosiers and Indiana Hoosier fans. That was quite an incredible game. Quite an incredible comeback, incredible story of never giving up, even though what teams. This is why we love football, because you don't know what team's going to win each year. The Big Ten has been looking really good in recent over the SEC, and the last few teams being Big Ten champion teams. Being Big Ten teams come to Big Ten. Being teams come to Big Ten and Big Ten championship teams. It's quite impressive to see what happens. It's quite impressive that the Big Ten is doing as well. I mean, the Big Ten is a good conference, but the SEC is what everybody talks about, and we're not in the championship game this year. And they haven't won one for the last few years, and the Big Ten has been winning them. But that was a good game last night, like I said. Both teams played their best and fought until the very end, and it came down to a defensive takeaway. It came down to a defensive takeaway to see who would win the game, to decide who would win that game, and they ended up finally got their championship in football. we'll see what happens now in football and how Indiana does next year and how they continue if they can go back to the championship game. I wonder if Kirk Zanetti will be offered a head coaching job in the NFL now after turning that program around in 2 years, or if he even consider going to the NFL. Since there are jobs that are open more now in the NFL than there have been. But yesterday, we've had 2 jobs filled in the NFL. Jeff Hatley, the defensive coordinator for the Packers, who was a good defensive coordinator for the Packers, is going to be the next head coach of the Miami Dolphins. That makes perfect sense to me because Miami's new GM did something with the Packers. I can't remember what he did, but he worked with the Packers, so it makes sense that he brought in Jeff Hatley. Hatley would be his first time being a head coach in the pro football. He used to be the head coach of the Boston College Eagles, where he did decent there. But we'll see how good he does in Miami and who he brings in as a staff. I think it's a good hire for Miami. He's a young coach that's up and coming, and he has worked with the new GM for Miami. That is a decent hire. We'll see what happens with Miami Dolphins and what they do with the quarterback, because that's going to be the biggest question for that coach too. Is it going to go Quentin Ewers or Tua, or is it going to go in a whole different direction? There are talks that Malik Willis, the backup quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, will be a free agent this year. Maybe he might go to Miami since they have the GM that used to work for the Packers and the old defensive coordinator for the Packers. But we will see how good he can do as a coach. These are the coaches that sometimes might hit well and sometimes might not hit well. It just depends on how they do and how much time they get from these owners. Some of these owners need to be more patient, try to give these coaches more time. But we'll see how good Miami does. I think it's a good hire for Miami, and I think he'll be a good coach of the Dolphins. But it'll be interesting to see who their quarterback is next year. Would it go Quentin Ewers who they were, or would it go in a whole new different direction? I don't know Tua will be the quarterback, and I don't know if Tua can go somewhere else and be good. But who knows? He could always do that. He can always go somewhere and be good. Another hire last night in the NFL world was the Tennessee Titans hired Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. You might remember Robert Saleh. He was a head coach for the New York Jets, and that did not go over so well when he was a coach of the Jets. But everybody deserves a second chance. But Tennessee is not loyal, does not give coaches that much of a chance sometimes. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. He does have Cam Ward, but needs to fix that defense and needs to fix that defense, which they probably need because he is a defensive-minded coach. But that Tennessee defense needs to be fixed before and has a lot of holes on it. But we will see what happens. We will see if he gets enough time, if he can turn around the Titans and make them good. I don't know. He wasn't that good as the Jets, but who knows if he can turn it around. Some coaches can, and it just depends on the organizations. And I know the Jets always stink. It doesn't matter who their coaches is in recent, but I don't know if he can be good. It's a decent hire. I think it's going to be interesting to see how much time they give him working for a rookie quarterback and Cam Ward. But like I said, they need to fix that defense in Tennessee. But he is a defensive-minded coach and had the 49ers defense pretty good this year with all the injuries the 49ers had, and had him playing for a playoff spot, even though they got crushed against the Seahawks in that last game. But we'll see what he does. Every coach deserves a second chance. But the other teams that are still open. There's other teams that are still open who haven't got head coaching yet, haven't got head coach yet, and I'll keep you updated when those teams get a head coach. But as of this video airing, the only teams that got a head coach now are the Miami Dolphins, with Jeff Hatley, the old Packers defense coordinator, and Robert Saleh, the old 49ers defense coordinator, going to Nashville, Tennessee, to coach the Tennessee Titans, and seeing if he can turn that program around. Tomorrow episode, we'll talk more about sports and my take on sports, and if I have good picks or bad picks. But I know ball. That's right. But tomorrow we'll talk more about my picks and the Penguins' upcoming games and other sports going around, and probably maybe NBA basketball tomorrow. We might talk about basketball. we'll talk about sports tomorrow. But thank you for watching my videos, even though I know ball. But thank you for watching my videos. Please leave comments below. Please like and share my videos. Thank you for watching my videos. This is Stache Sports signing off.